They
Yeah.
say that like the best test of any relationship is putting together like IKEA furniture. I feel like we are testing if you and I are good, like have good business compatibility, I guess.
Yeah, it would be funny if we got through that whole 10-week course with no drama, and then, like, in this
This is what
session.
did it in. I forced you to build Legos with me and it just ruined everything. Hey everybody, welcome to a new series called Brick by Brick, where I take clients from previous projects that we've done at Superposition and talk about the work that we've done together. So really happy to have you here, Stephen.
Thanks, happy to be here.
For everybody's context, what we're doing today, and the reason the show is called Brick by Brick, is that Stephen and I will be putting together this Lego thing as we're going along. So, Stephen, if you don't mind opening up your Lego box, we'll get started and start talking through some of this stuff. So to start the questions off, let's just start by doing some like introductory stuff and kind of how we met and where we started. So who are you and what does your company do? I guess is the first important question.
Yeah, good question. So my name's Stephen. I started an agency called Database Tycoon about 1 year ago, a little over a year ago. And I have been working in data consulting for a while, for at least 5 years at this point. And yeah, I'm already realizing how distracting this is going to be. Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the original problem that you had and like the reason why you reached out in the first place.
Yeah, so I would say that, as I mentioned, I had a team that quickly grew from just me as a freelancer to me and a team that I was putting together. And, something that was new for me in this role was management. I've actually never properly managed a team before. I've been an IC for my entire career until this point. So I knew that was an area that I would probably need some help with. And just more broadly, like setting up systems for running a business and, things like how do you have a meeting that's useful and meaningful. I could see that my team was growing quickly, and I could see that I was starting to become a bottleneck for them in a way that I was hoping I wouldn't be. And so I think when I reached out to you, this is probably something you were going to bring up anyway, but I had an idea in mind that I just kind of wanted someone to kind of become a mentor for my own team or become a teacher for my team who could kind of like teach us how to think about these meetings and processes in a different way, which was a little different, I think, from what you originally pitched the service as.
Let's talk about the project itself then in a little more detail. So originally, we intended to look really only at meetings. Like your ask was actually like, help me make my meetings better. So thinking back, are you surprised where we landed in doing kind of like a wholesale process review?
It all felt so organic during the scope of our work. Yeah. Where it started with just the meetings. And I guess for the audience's perspective, like by the end of the project, which was 2 months, 10 weeks.
It's like 10 weeks, give or take, yeah.
Basically what happened was I feel like we used the meetings as a way to change the process. One very visceral way that people on your team know if things are going well or not is if the meetings feel good or don't feel good. And I think starting with the meetings, those first couple of weeks, we really kind of uncovered some process issues that needed to be solved. And then from there, it felt like a pretty natural progression to say like, well, if we want this meeting to go more smoothly, we need a new process. And that's where like I really liked the experience you brought in with the whiteboards and the Miro boards you created. And like that was kind of a revelation for me that like the whiteboard feels like that. It's that link between process and the meetings you have that can kind of bring the two together.
What do you think each of your team members were facing specifically, like in terms of the challenges with their processes and the meetings that we worked on?
Well, to be honest, a lot of the meetings didn't even have much of a process at all.
Yeah.
It was just that they were meetings that spawned out of habit in a way. Like when the team was smaller, I would just meet one-on-one with people and we would talk about something, and then that would get big enough that it needed to be peeled off into its own meeting time. But then that just became the time to just have an unstructured conversation about topic X, Y, Z. So I think when I started with you, there was still just a lot of basic groundwork that still needed to be done of like, how do we even get on the same page about what is happening up to this point? Like, what is the process now?
Like, what is the point of this meeting occurring in the first place?
And then one of the early validations for me was trying to figure out like, okay, when my team meets with you, are they having the same concerns that I'm having. Because if not, then it's probably a waste of time. But it was for the best.
So one of the I think biggest changes from the original idea that you and I had is that I don't think we intended for me to meet one-on-one with every single member of your team and for that to become a kind of foundational part of how we approach this project, of like kind of going literally with every single member of the team and figuring out what was working and not working for each of them. But how did you find that process to work?
Yeah, it was really helpful. I didn't expect it, to be honest. It wasn't in the scope, so I was really kind of impressed and happy to see that. Hopefully you can continue to do that for all of your clients in the future. But it added a very different element to the work. I really wanted it to be a collaboration with the people on my team where they could see you as more of a resource, as someone they could learn from. And I'm glad that they got that one-on-one time with you. Yeah, long story short, it was definitely nice. And I heard the same from the team too. It was nice to have you there to get that kind of personal connection that would be hard to get across in a meeting, a big group meeting.
So using the workshops as a driver, like a vehicle for talking about organizational strategy and for like figuring out what the next steps are for each of those processes, was it useful to have it presented to you in the form of a workshop?
Yes, I would say so. I hadn't really used workshops much. And I guess when I say workshop, I'm referring to like a Canva board or a Miro board, like the whiteboard concept. I'd never really thought to use that much for meetings. I always kind of saw them as too messy, honestly, to like ever get anything meaningful out of them. And now that I worked with you and I saw that process, like it just goes to show it's like a lot of things in life where it's all about the prep that you put into it. So like a well-prepped whiteboard can not only help guide a meeting, but it can help become the structure for a meeting permanently. Like it can be used as a guiding post for running the actual meeting itself. So it was definitely more useful than I had expected in the beginning.
And you guys still continue to use many of the frameworks we built, like many of the workshop frameworks we built internally, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now it's I would say a key part of the business. It's a critical component now.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite part of like any of the workshops that we did?
I really enjoyed some of the sessions we had where we just got to brain dump ideas onto a whiteboard together. And I'm thinking back to almost like the beginning of the project when I had to kind of do some soul searching at that point to be like, well, what are even the meetings here? You know, like what do I want to call an official meeting at this point? Or it also made me sort of realize there were things that needed to happen that weren't happening yet. So for me, that was probably one of my favorite moments, because it just kind of dawned on me in that moment how much potential there was in what we were doing and like what I could actually get out of it instead of just whatever preconceived notion I had going into it.
What types of teams do you think are best suited for the work that we did?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on that is you have to be ready to change if you go into a process like this. Like there's work on the client side where I need to be able to not only just commit the time to the meetings and be in there and, be active and present, but also following up and making sure that the process gets maintained and implemented properly, and that my team, like if they had any questions about the process, that I could answer it. So I think it takes a team that's willing to change, maybe even like eager to change, and open to being flexible with the process. That's how I think you get the most out of it.
So what were the things that you were surprised that we were able to overcome by following the structured process of both the workshops, but also the one-on-one process of talking to every member of the team?
Maybe surprised would be a strong way of putting this, but I think one thing that I may have been concerned about in the beginning is being too heavy-handed about maybe having my team adopt leadership roles as a result of this. And I wanted them to sort of realize that through this process, it wouldn't just be like somebody's going to come in and do all the work for you and kind of fix this up for you. And I just didn't know if everyone was going to want to do that necessarily. Like I know that some people just may not have that instinct in them, but I have to say that my whole team really rallied to the challenge very well. And they all, I would say, were even excited about the opportunity. They all were thrilled to have that chance to be like, yes, let me make this my own.
This is the part of the show where I start cursing and I'm gonna have to bleep every 5 seconds. Okay, so let's talk a little more about what others should be thinking about when they contact Superposition, right? What would you recommend yourself to think about if you could go back in time and restart this project?
I don't know if there's anything that I would have necessarily done any different, but I'm glad that, there was for lack of a better word, I'll call it some homework that you gave me early on to sit down and really outline every process and figure out exactly which ones were going to be in scope and not be in scope. And I think that was a good exercise to go through. I think if for anyone listening, if you can go through that on your own in advance, it's a great thing to do.
You know, they say that like the best test of any relationship is putting together like IKEA furniture. I feel like we are testing if you and I are good, like have good business compatibility, I guess.
Yeah, it would be funny if we got through that whole 10-week course with no drama, and then like in this
is what did it in. I forced you to build Legos with me and it just ruined everything. What was the experience of working together like overall?
I was really happy to see that you embedded with the team directly, because you know, you were seeing the processes instead of just talking about them. So I think not just me, but everybody on the team really benefited from that. And I think you're a pretty patient person, David. You know, there was never any...
Not right now.
Maybe not right now, but like there were definitely times where, you know, we were all on a call and you had to kind of like maybe wrangle us to get something done, or we wanted to spend time like debating, you know, the merits of doing something one way or another, and you had to be the mediator to sort of like move things along.
Yeah, like I'm having trouble.
For the record, folks, this was David's choice, not my choice.
This is dumb. I'm sorry, audience. You're learning live that David's fine motor skills are not the greatest. What are the biggest challenges that you noticed in the team and how they do their work day to day?
I think honestly, it's a lot of the same things that come up in many jobs, which is we all have a limited amount of energy we can use every day. And I think, you know, I work with a team of pretty ambitious people. It can also lead to overextension, burnout, all those, you know, fun terms. So I think that being a good leader, I have to try to be aware of that. I think that the meeting structure that we came up with after our project helps with that a lot.
And I think what happens when you run a small team also is that everybody wears a lot of hats. And that, to your point, like that is what feels overwhelming, is that you're having to deal with so many like dimensions of running a company at once. To me, at least, what the outside help does is it gives you perspective for things that you can't see because you're so like sucked into the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was another great thing about having you on the project, that like just by the fact that you're external, you know, you gave a new perspective on things. Like you got to see things with fresh eyes.
But it was nice to be a honorary Tycoon. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's nice to have you as an honorary Tycoon.
So what are the biggest changes that you noticed in yourself?
I definitely take this whole process more seriously now than I did before. Like I'm thinking about meetings and structure and team engagement. I'm thinking about them all in a different way than I had before, where I really can see how it's like a stepping stone for good work in a business. So whereas in the past I might have been a little bit more relaxed, now I'm finding myself being more reflective about it and being like, does this need to really be a meeting? Or if it does, like, is there something I can do in advance to prepare the team? Like, is there a workshop I can put together now or something like that? So I think that it's given the whole process more importance to me.
And I think one interesting thing that happens when people start their own consulting companies is that it's easy to, especially when you're small, to think that you're going to overcome the ambiguity and challenges of running a small team just by virtue of like powering through it. Like, but it really does require having kind of an intentional perspective on, you know, like solving a problem and then essentially working through it in a way that both like makes the team feel comfortable, but also that makes the process feel organic.
Right, exactly.
So the next question is, where do you think Database Tycoon goes from here?
What this has unlocked for my team is the ability to scale in a way that wasn't possible before. I had a point earlier this year where I had a few clients overlapping all at the same time. And I've definitely dealt with that in my personal career before, but it's different when you're leading a team and you want to look out for your team and stuff. And I could already see that we were hitting some bottlenecks, even at our small size. So I thought it would be a good time for us to work together and kind of get that process figured out before the next big like wave of clients came across.
I wonder how you would have done with the scale if we had not gone through the process, you know? Like what do you think it would have been like to go through the same process of scaling and like capturing the opportunity of growing now if you had not gone through the process of defining this whole thing together?
I think it just would have been more of a grind. We would have been spending more time in our meetings thinking about the process of the meeting. Like, we would have had to, out of necessity. I'm glad that we worked together because it forced me and my team to bundle all of that prep work in advance, kind of think about what do we need to do to make this all work well before we're actually doing it. Whereas, like, for better or worse, I think my instinct might just be show up in the meeting, figure things out as you go, bash your head against the problem enough times until you solve it, which eventually, your head starts to hurt when you do that.
We don't like concussions here.
No, we don't. So, I just think it would have been a lot more painful to experience that in real time.
So, would you work together again?
I would.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that would be a funny way to end this. No, absolutely. I mean, I think that one of the reasons we're not still working together right now is because your method was pretty successful.
I worked myself out of the job.
You kind of did, where I feel like all of my meetings, I keep saying meetings, but it's really bigger than that. All of my systems, they're in good shape, or at least the people who are running them have the tools they need to be effective with them. So let's give it a few months. Let's see how that all evolves. I'm sure we'll be talking more in 2026, and who knows what work I could need at that point.
Yeah, and the cool thing that happens, for me at least, is that the experience of working with other consultants means that I get to see what works and doesn't work in different places. And for me, in some ways, that means being an advocate of doing good consulting work and running consulting firms in not the right way, but like a positive and like productive way, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's something that I try to instill in everybody that I work with is I don't do this just because I like having a company, which I do, but it's also partly because I enjoy what I do and what we do. And I want to be a good advocate of that for other people too. What would you recommend other consultancies to look at us for now that you've seen it in action? So if you were restarting the search and you're like, I need help on this, what do you think somebody would be best served to get our help for?
Well, I guess, for sure, everything that I've already talked about, if you have if any of those challenges sound relevant to you, I think you would benefit from David. If none of those sound relevant to you, I'd like to talk to you and I want to learn your secret because...
Please call me so I can figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, we need to learn from you. No, think about, maybe to give like a more genuine answer to that, I think that as a founder, it can be very easy to just assume, since everything's your responsibility, that everything is your task. And that doesn't always have to be true. Like, it's my responsibility to make sure that my team knows what to do when they show up in a meeting and they know what's expected of them. But it's not necessarily something that I individually need to be doing as the leader, as the CEO or whatever. So it was a good opportunity for me to be like, you know what? I don't know what's best here. I'm not a organizational behavior, expert, and I am going to bring in some help because I think I could learn from it too. I didn't go into this thinking that it was just going to be my team benefiting from it. I figured I'd learn from it too. So for me, it was kind of an easy choice. Everything kind of clicked, unlike with this Lego set, which is taking a while for me to figure it out. So yeah, if you feel like you're reaching that point with your solo agency or with your maybe small group that you're building, think about where you can start reaching out for help and think about what you need help with. And I think there's a good chance that David could help you with it. It is a little ironic to me that like your whole shtick of your whole service is like getting meetings done on time, having good process, and then like this interview is the most chaotic thing we've done up to this date.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's this is a little experimental content wise.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. It's cool.
All right, Stephen. So let's close out the show. So first off, hold up your flower.
I grew it myself. I'm very proud of it.
And yeah, so thank you for coming on the first episode and being the guinea pig for this. I hope everybody also enjoyed the experience of watching us build this. If you want to learn more about the work that we do at Superposition, always please feel free to reach out via superpositionstrat.com or via the YouTube channel that you're watching this on. So DM us or go to our website, or if not, I am also LinkedIn. I keep saying I am on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/DAVCOHEN06, and I'll put that on the text in the editing as well so people can see it. And you can learn more about the work that we do and how we help organizations and teams like Stephen's get better at their job, both internally and with their clients. So thanks again, Stephen. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, David. Take care.